Introducing Tundra Football League.
As you have seen it, they are partying around the world. That's right, folks. Welcome back to the FTFL Weekly Update. It is I, Brett Sieber, your host, and of course, owner of the no longer hapless Hulkamaniacs. And lest you not forget, your king. Now, this week, I am taking on the final undefeated team in the FTFL, the overworked, underpaid, underappreciated log cabin pizza employees who have been rioting all season long. The last 2 seasons, I was the one who defeated the final undefeated team, thus making me the king. The moniker is on the line this week. That's right, Adamswort. You are a marked man, and I'm coming for you. Now, of course, I jumped off the schneid against the Pack Attack, who, if you've been paying attention, hasn't beaten me since 2015. 5 consecutive matchups have gone in this guy's favor, including twice in 2016. Sure, in this time I haven't won a lot, but I'll tell you what I have been doing. Beating up on Eric. That is right. Speaking of beating up, a lot of that going on this week. However, one game decided by a half a point, no less than 2 yards, decided the victory for the Architect over Nominee. We'll get into that. Now, also the self-proclaimed General Manager of the Month for September. Well, let's just say we're going to need some new applicants for October, because already September's GM of the Month is off to a rough start. And last but not least, happy Bomba season. Woo! I hope everyone is enjoying the most wonderful time of the year. And if you're going, wait, Brett, I don't know what Bomba season is. Well, I'll let you know what Bomba season is. It's that time of the year when your favorite baseball team, the Minnesota Twins, get their asses whipped by the New York Yankees. 'Tis the season, Bomba season. You get what you got, Minnesota Twins. You spent nothing. You traded for nothing. So you got nothing. I don't want to see that cup anymore. All right, with that being said, it's on to the games and mixing cocktails coming into week 5 at 4-0, taking on the king of the FTFL at 3-1. And like I said, the mixing cocktails off to a rough start. The undefeated streak is over. 118 for the king, 90.5 for mixing cocktails. If you are Sid, my goodness gracious, Christian McCaffrey, now pointed out by Trump, who we later found out was actually Sid, was also traded for a 3rd-round pick. Something about 3rd-round picks in Sid and Decem. Maybe I'll have to have President Trump back on to draw up another chart as to how this all makes sense. 39 points. Oh my goodness. Catching the ball, running the ball, scoring touchdowns. There isn't anything that Christian McCaffrey can't do except maybe play with back spasms in London this week. We shall find out. Dalvin Cook 17, Cooper Kupp 16.5. Tyler Eifert, 1 point. Only 1 under 7. I was just stunned to see Tyler Eifert in a starting lineup. Let's be honest. Tyler Eifert playing a football game past like week 2 of a regular season. Goodness God, goodness gracious, that guy is a walking injury. If you're Andy, Michael Thomas had a really nice week, 29.5. New England Patriots defense still stout with 16. Lamar Jackson 12. Wayne, big time pickup Gallman. Ooh, look at me and all my magical waiver wire moves. Yeah, 0 points. Now, granted, got a concussion, 2 carries in. I guess maybe not his fault. However, what is Andy's fault is the absolute pile of points that was on his bench. Will Fuller, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th on the bench with 43. Matt Bryder, 25.5, and Sony Michel, 15.5. I don't have to be a math teacher in Browerville to tell you that those points would have been way more than enough to stay undefeated. However, he didn't. He loses the game. He loses the GM of the Month moniker, and we're still lamenting the loss of the Pit of Misery. Dilly. On to the next game. The other undefeated team, the overworked, underpaid, underappreciated Log Cabin Pizza employees about to riot, coming in at 4-0, taking on Ryan Deesum. And I found him in the bottom of the free box at the garage sale down the street. Titties and balls. Coming in at 2-2. He falls to 2-3. That's right. Man was in the Fantasy Bowl last year. He is 2-3 to start the season. However, guess what? He also started last season at 2-3 and then went all the way to the Fantasy Bowl. So let's just be honest, folks. No matter what your record is at this point in time, there is still ample opportunity to change things around. However, not this week. 67 points for Ryan. 102 points for those employees who've been rioting for 5 weeks nonstop. Deshaun Watson, goodness Lord, 44 points. Adam finally got a Thielen with 23.5. And Leonard Fournette, if you've been paying attention the last couple weeks, we have seen a reemergence, a rebirth of Leonard Fournette. If that's going to happen, if Melvin Gordon comes back and finds his groove, I don't know if there's any stopping Adamswort. Oh, wait. That's right, you play the King this week, who has a knack for knocking off the undefeated teams. So we'll just have to wait and see. Everyone else on on team, though, however, with all those points, was under 5. But when you have Deshaun Watson scores almost half your points at 44, you're probably going to win. If you're Ryan Deesum, Justin Tucker, 16 points. Pat Mahomes, 12 points. 1 week after having 0 touchdowns scored. Now, I'm still doing the research because there's been a lot of games played in the 20 years of the FTFL. How many games there have been 0 touchdowns scored? 1 week after scoring 0 touchdowns, Ryan tallies a whopping single touchdown. Things are looking bleak as he moves forward. Looking bleak no more is the outlook for yours truly, the Hulkamaniacs, who took on the Pack Attack. I mentioned it earlier. 0-4 coming in against 2-2. However, recent history on my side. 5 years running. Eric hasn't defeated me. 86 for me, 64.5 for Eric. Chris Godwin, 23.5. Todd Gurley, 15.5. Chris Carson, 14.5. Aaron Rodgers, oddly, only 4 points. His team scored 34 points, and he didn't have a single passing touchdown, and I couldn't be happier. Because we went into Dallas. We had to watch Jerry Jones with the old sour face sitting up there in the old box just looking crabby. It was perfect. Brandon Cooks, my supposed number 1 receiver, has not been anywhere near that so far. Another 2.5 points this week. Not great. If you are Eric, your top receiver, Amari Cooper, notched 29.5. A heck of a game. Kyambi Fairburn, 13. Mark Ingram, 9. 6 players were at or under 4.5 points. Not going to get it done. Even with Juju 17.5 on the bench, he still would have lost. Now, it is time, once again. Now, last week, as we all aware, got a bit hijacked, overtaken by Trump, Giuliani, and in the end, let's be honest, one Sid Hagen. I bring to you this week's version, episode, segment, 20 years of the FTFL.
And now, the 20 years of the FTFL.
All right, so for this week's 20 years of the FTFL segment, I have one question for you. What's in a name? Over the years of the FTFL, we have had many teams and many team names. And I'm pretty sure we all know who's at the top of the list for most team names. But do you know who has only had one team name in the history of their franchise? We're going to start from the bottom, work our way to the top. Now, 2 teams who are no longer a part of the league. Bop, and you're like, who the hell was Bob? Right, we all kind of want to, let's be honest, who the hell was Bob? I'm pretty sure it was Andy's alter ego that he just ran 2 teams, giving himself a better chance at winning a title, which of course took years for him to finally accomplish. Bob's team was the Iron Rangers. Of course, Bob was from up north, went to college St. Scholastic with Andy, so that's where that came from. If you are Joe, Sid's brother, he went with the Naked Warriors. I guess he had parties. He liked to get naked. I don't know. I never saw it. I think Sid has pictures. You could ask him if you'd like to see them. After Bob left, Adam Saltmarsh came in. And he's had the same team name from the beginning, the Radioactive Monkeys. And after Joe left, Matt came in, and he's had the same team name for his duration. A much shorter duration, but still, kudos for the same team name, the Architect. The two other teams in the league from the get-go. One, a team that has been with us for the absolute beginning. Well, actually, you know what, Eric? Maybe a year after the beginning. I don't remember quite. It all gets kind of murky. John, simply called Linkowitz. Not Team Linkowitz, not Go Linkowitz Go, not Yay Linkowitz, not hashtag Linkowitz, just Linkowitz. And if you're Eric, Pack Attack has, is, and always will be. Now, next on the list, a team that has had two names. That is myself. We were the Hulkamaniacs. For about a year and a half, we were the Macho Madness. Then we brought back the original, the Hulkamaniacs, where it shall stay, but let's be honest, forever, because Hulkamania is going to run wild for life. After me, we got a couple teams, one that had 4, one couple that had 5, and then number 2, and I'm going to be honest, number 2 on this list is a bit of a shocker. Next up, Ryan Deesum, original team name, the Andy Slashers. Of course, it was Andy Slash, nickname. You look like Andy Slash something or whatever. Yep, the Andy Slashers. From there, it was the Cutting Muffins. I said it right. Don't rewind it and listen again. It was the Cutting Muffins. From there was the Titties and Balls, the cream of the crop. And now, of course, it is just the Ryan Deesums looking like some sort of tomato that got left in the garden over winter, and now you found it in the spring as the snow is finally melting, shriveled up and way almost beyond any sort of recognition or semblance. Titties and Balls. After Ryan, you got to go to Andy. Andy started out as the Mighty Horned Owls. Might be all-time lamest league team name in our league. From there, he went to the Rednecks. He moved down to Mississippi, and of course, he had a name that kind of representative of where he was living. From there was IPA. The It's Poop Again. It's Poop Again. From 4, it was Bazinga. On to the Pit of Misery, Dilly Dilly. Finally settling on this year, the Mixin' Cocktails. Also coming in with 5 team names. Sid, originally the Killer Whales. I take that back, Andy. The Mighty Horned Owls might be like this much better than the Killer Whales. Although, wait, there's another one. World War II Flying Ace. That's right. That was an actual team name. It belonged to Sid. Next, one of the absolute better team names, Kramerica Industries. One of my all-time favorite FTFL weekly update segments. Make Kramerica great again. Phenomenal stuff. Number 4, you're going to need a bigger boat. And finally, number 5, the king of the FTFL, which brings us to number 2 on the list, Jeff Markser. Jeff Markser. Big fan of stuffed animals and all the such. Started off with Kermit's Crusaders. Made a ton of sense. All right. From there, we went to a bit of a dark stretch. I think Jeff's team was struggling. The Twins were struggling. Team number 2 for Jeff, the Bill Smith. The Bill Smith was a team name. Team number 3, Ron Can't Win the Big Games, Garden Fires. Team number 4, Building for the Future. And the logo on that one, amazing picture of Terry Ryan. Go back and find it, worth your time. Team number 5, The Dark Ages. The Dark Ages. It was no logo. It was just nothing. It had hit rock bottom, and that's all he wanted. Finally moved on to number 6, and the one he's had now for a few years, Mana, which brings us, of course, to the number 1. Everyone knew this was coming, Adamswort. Now, I actually have to flip this over to the other side of the piece of paper because the list is long. My goodness gracious, I'm not even entirely sure I got all of them, but I'm going to go ahead and try. Now, when Adam broke into the league, he was the Karate Explosion. Over the years, though, that name has changed multiple times, and here we go, one by one. I don't think this is quite in numerical order, but it really doesn't matter because there's just so many. Communist China, circa 1945. Not 44, not 46, 1945. There was Fisting to Victory, the American way. Sure, why not? There was Buddy Jesus. Don't forget him, the co-mayor of Pussyville. I'm Hung. And that was his team name as well. The people of Middle Spunk Creek loved that one. The picture with all the Wookiees, phenomenal stuff. Pump, The Putin-Trump demonic love child was a team name of Adam Swartz. Of course, this year, the overworked, underpaid, underappreciated log cabin pizza employee is about to riot. And I guess if we wanted to go ahead and throw in a little variation, the log cabin pizza emoli's about to riot. None of those, in my view, compare to my all-time favorite, the 13 key members of the Black Panther Party about to riot. Adam, you had so many team names that we instituted a rule, but boy, oh boy, 20 years of the FTFL, lots of fun names. Who knows what next year might bring? But for this segment. We'll catch you next time on 20 years of the FTFL. I mean, so many names, so many years. Of course, a couple years we instituted a rule, the Adamswort Rule, if you will, that basically said if you change your name too many times during the season at all, it's $1. I don't know exactly why that went down. I know Deason was getting a little tired of it. Maybe it's more of that corruption that Hagen was talking about. I don't know. What I do know is I've got a couple more games to talk about, starting with the Radioactive Monkeys coming in at 1-3, taking on Team Linkowitz, 2-2. Two of the team who have over the years not changed their name once. That's impressive. Linkowitz, a couple off weeks, back in the win column at 98 points this week to Salty's 61.5. Tom Brady for Linkowitz had 24. Zerline in Minnesota, which seems to be a constant theme as I do these updates, both had 13. Emmanuel Sanders, half point. Robert Woods, 4.5 points. They were the only two players in single digits this week. If all your players are scoring double digits, let's be honest, you're probably going to win most of your games. If you're Adam Saltmarsh, 16 points for Philip Lindsay. Philip Lindsay. 12 points for Jared Goff. Harrison Butker had 8. DeAndre Hopkins had 7.5. Not a lot of glitz and glam for Saltmarsh's team, and that is why he falls to 1-4. Also falling to 1-4 after this week's game will be Mana, 3-time Lucky Pants champ. And you still owe Brett, 7 cents. Mana coming in at 1-3, taking on the Architect at 1-3. The battle to avoid your fourth loss in the almost halfway point of the season. 95 for Matt, 94.5 for Jeff Markser. It came down to 2 yards. Matt's your winner. Moving on to 2-3. If you're Matt, Tyler Boyd, 23. Jimmy, the right G Garoppolo with 14 points. Maybe, just maybe, now that this quarterback is back, his bye has passed him, Matt may have a squad going forward, although the third highest score, Buffalo's defense. But let me tell you what, that defense is for real. OBJ, 3 points. Only 1 week in the 5 has he scored in double digits. Just once. That offense has been up, it's been down. OBJ has been almost nowhere to be found. Also, of note, Cairo Santos, 1 point. He missed 4 field goals in the game. Matt, you're going to need to pick up a kicker because Cairo Santos got cut. Do not put him in your lineup for next week. It'll count as a 0, and you'll be charged yet another $5 for another incomplete lineup. Get it done, Matt. If you're Markser, Russell, stupid face, just the most dumb quarterback in the history of quarterbacks, Wilson, 34 points. George Kittle, 13, highest of the year. Now, Markser traded to get George Kittle, traded away Lamar Jackson, brought in George Kittle, finally maybe starting to show some signs of life. David Johnson, only 11.5 points. I mean, only 11.5, let's be honest, double digits, it's great, but not still the running back who Jeff won the title with a couple years ago. Yes, Jeff, you're welcome. Sammy Watkins, 0 points. Are we shocked? No, he did have a hamstring. He came in with a different injury. He left with a hamstring injury. That's what this guy does. 1 or 2 weeks a season where he goes, oh my gosh, he could be the greatest receiver ever, followed by weeks of who gave this guy money. Jeff's wide receivers in this game combined for 4.5 points. Now, I have heard that Jeff has been offered a very actually top-end receiver, very great receiver. God, I'm starting to sound like my guest from last week. Jesus. The trade still stands. It's out there. Maybe it's expired by now. There was talk. There was conversation. I said, you know what? I left it there. You could use a receiver, but maybe not. I think, you know what? Maybe, because you're 1-4 just like me, and I'm hot on your heels. We're going to get to the stud and the dud and the decent before we talk about next week's slate of games. Stud of the week, Deshaun Watson, going to split up with Christian McCaffrey. Both of them just massive weeks, led their teams to victory. Dud of the week, Cairo Santos. He scored 1 point. He missed 4 field goals. He got cut. Sammy Watkins, just general unreliability is why you're on here this week. 0 points is part of it, and your team lost by a half. But we just can't be counted on. And Markster should know that, so he should probably be searching the trade wire for possible options. The DSUM nominee of the week, I'm going to say the GM of the month is September. Andy, all in. Oh, look at me, I traded for Lamar Jackson. Oh, look at me, I picked up Wayne Gallman. Oh, look at me, New England's super stout defense. It's October, brother. It's a new month. You just made the list. And I, as an omission from last week, as the angstiness, I don't know if that's the right word, the upsetness was starting to build with surrounding my team, I completely overlooked something we have awarded someone the DSUM for doing in the past. Sid, you offered, and it was accepted, Eric, a 6th-round pick for nothing. Jeff is on the toilet bowl for doing the exact same thing. Granted, last year, 3 of those offenses didn't make the toilet bowl at all. Past, offenses, because John, of course, hashtag poll stick together, kept a kicker. So Sid, just a redo for last week as well. Looking at week 6, this is kind of the haves versus the have-nots. 4 winning teams against 4 losing teams, and 1 game against 2 teams fighting to get back to 500. We got the mixing cocktails coming in at 4-1, taking on Ryan DSUM. And they've sagged so low to the ground, he's walking around town putting missing signs on every telephone pole he comes to. Titties and balls. At 2-3, both teams looking to rebound. And for Ryan, looking to get back to 500. The overworked, underappreciated, underpaid log cabin pizza employees about to ride. The last of the undefeated teams at 5-0, taking on your king, the Hulkamaniacs at 1-4. Team Linkowitz coming in at 3-2, taking on Mana at 1-4. The king of the FTFL at 4-1, taking on the Radioactive Monkeys at 1-4. And lastly, that game of the 2, 2, and 3 teams fighting to get to 500. Eric's Pack Attack taking on Matt's Architect. Go pick up a kicker, Matt. You're going to need one. That does it for the show this week. Man, 5 weeks in the books. Good luck to everyone. Week 6. And until next time, peace!